So today in biology class, I'm going to continue from the last part where I left at different types of solutions, diffusions, transports, active and passive transports. So now it comes active transport, just repetition to continue with this. So as you all of you remember that active transport needs energy because the movement is against the concentration gradient. And in passive transport, first of all, it does not need any energy. And it is of two types, simple diffusion and facilitated diffusion. In simple diffusion, you don't need any kind of a specific kind of carrier or channel protein, but in case of facilitated diffusion, you need some kind of channel protein or carrier protein, and it is without energy. So the movement along the concentration gradient without energy. So you need to remember two words. First thing in active transport, movement against concentration gradient, and by using energy, that is ATP. But in passive transport, movement is along the concentration gradient and without energy. That's it. So now it comes, what are the electrochemical gradient? As you can see here in the figure, without going for some definition, you could understand there are some kind of positive and negative ions like cations and anions. And then here, the word is used electrochemical gradient, that is a gradient of electrochemical potential, typically for ions, across the membrane. It's a combination of two forces, a chemical gradient force, that is the difference in solute concentration, and an electrical gradient difference in charges, because you can see positive and negative charge. This gradient represents a form of potential energy that gives ion movement across the membrane. And the same thing you could see here. Now, moving against a gradient, then here you can see how it could look like. So the movement of the substances against a concentration or electrochemical gradient, there is definitely energy required. And this energy is harvested from ATP that is generated through a process called cellular metabolism. So basically, where we are supposed to move in the next step is a kind of a step that is called metabolic activity or metabolism. So now we can see and memorize transport can be passive without energy and along the gradient. Active transport with energy and against the concentration gradient. So this is, and the same thing. Now I'm going to again discuss few things: diffusion, osmosis, active and passive transport. Substances move from high to low concentration, that is diffusion, and no energy is required. In osmosis, water moves from a high to low concentration across semi-permeable and down a concentration gradient. And again, no energy is required. In active transport, substances move from a low to high concentration against a concentration gradient. Energy is required, and then it is mineral ions, glucose, photosynthesis, and some more things which we will be seeing in the coming days. Now, what is endocytosis and what is exocytosis? So here, this is like endocytosis is a type of active transport that moves particles into a cell. and it could be in different way. For example, one way you can see here, large particle is engulfed in the first way. Then there is another way here where a small, comparatively smaller particles are moving. Then there is another way where there is something additional involvement that is called receptor. So there are three types of endocytosis. One is phagocytosis, second is pinocytosis, third is receptor mediated endocytosis. So in one case, you can see large particles are moving in another, like a small particle is moving inside. In third one, there is a movement of something by using receptor. And here that is called receptor mediated endocytosis. Then it comes what is phagocytosis, which is a process by which large particles. So this is definition. Then here the definition is for pino and then for receptors, definitely. So it is better to understand from picture. Then in exocytosis, a vesicle migrates to the plasma membrane, binds and releases its contents to the outside. So it is from the name itself, exocytosis, outside the cell. Now, there are some key points from this chapter which you need to remember. That is, what is transport active, passive, cell wall, central vacuole, chloroplast, all these cell organelles, and some of the properties, phenomena. You need to know what is unified cell theory, tight junctions, adherence junction, and then SER, like which you remember already. Then what is selective permeability, vesicle, vacuole, all such keywords you need to remember. In the next class, I will be continuing from how cells obtain energy. So basically, I will be discussing more about energy and metabolism, such as, and in metabolism, there will be different pathways, glycolysis, citric acid cycle, then some phosphorylation, fermentation, and then connectivities of different metabolic pathways. So thank you very much.